Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I am Shruti Mishra. These are the top headlines from the startup space. QMath becomes the latest edtech startup to cut jobs, fires 100 employees in a move that sees founder Manan Kurma return as the CEO of the Sequoia-backed online math learning platform. Current CEO and ex-Swiggy executive Vivek Sundar to take on an advisory role. Invesco cuts Swiggy's valuation for the second time in less than a year, marks down valuation of the food and grocery delivery giant to $5.5 billion from $8 billion last October. Swiggy's valuation was at over $10 billion at last fundraise. 314 Capital closes its fourth early-stage fund with a corpus of $200 million, plans to invest in 30 to 35 companies with check sizes of up to $7 million, says the fund has already made 5 investments since first close earlier in March. Tiger Global-backed Kroyo achieves EBITDA profitability, clocking annualized revenue run rate of 1,600 crore rupees within a year of launching its B2B manufacturing and supply chain platform, claims to have acquired 100 global customers in last 12 months. Make My Trip jumps on the AI bandwagon, ties up with Microsoft's cloud arm Azure to roll out generative AI-based voice assistant tool. The voice assistant will initially be available in English and Hindi, other languages including Bhojpuri in trials for launch. Apple CEO Tim Cook confirms the company is not considering mass layoffs. Cook's comment comes shortly after Apple posted strong earnings for the previous quarter, beating analyst expectations and alleviating concerns over slowdown in iPhone sales. Alibaba's logistic arm eyes up to $2 billion IPO in Hong Kong early next year in what's the first major announcement since the Jack Ma-founded company said in March it would split its business into 6 units, each exploring an independent path to capital markets. Well, those were the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening. On What's Brewing, are you receiving WhatsApp calls from international numbers out of the blue? Well, you better beware. This is a scam. With the rise of WhatsApp as one of the most popular apps used by billions, it has become a tool for cyber criminals to target innocent customers. And once again, fraudsters are using WhatsApp to scam the app users. Aishwarya Anand is here with more. Aishwarya, the latest scam on the app is calls from a whole host of international numbers.
500 million WhatsApp users in India have been at the receiving end of scams. While a job scam has been widely reported since the start of 2023, over the past 1 week, social media is buzzing with users in India complaining of missed calls from countries like Ethiopia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Kenya, Vietnam, and many more. What you need to understand is that these code numbers do not necessarily mean that the calls are originating from these countries. Several reports suggest agencies sell these overseas numbers to local scammers. There is no information on who these callers are and why they use WhatsApp for this scam. It is not even clear on how these calls can affect users and who is tracking them. When CNBC-TV18 reached out to WhatsApp, it said in a statement, and I quote, "We apply scam detection technology to spot and take action on accounts engaging in abnormal behavior to stop spam. We have a grievance officer based in India who can be contacted if a user has a concern about their experience and is unable to report it through other channels. The reports detail user complaints received and the corresponding action taken by WhatsApp, as well as WhatsApp's own preventive actions to combat abuse on the platform." End quote. In addition, WhatsApp says that it has launched a marketing campaign, Stay Safe with WhatsApp, to educate users about features and safety tools to safeguard their account against phishing attacks and takeover attempts by scammers. In its monthly India report until May 1, the Meta-owned social conversation platform claimed to have banned more than 47 lakh malicious WhatsApp accounts in India. The messaging platform said that it received 4,720 reports in the month of March in India and acted upon 585 of them.
We do see these patterns happening, and we are getting reports that this is increasing in India as well. And, you know, in the end, it's all about how they can get people to answer the calls. And they've found a way to make these calls on WhatsApp and Telegram. which people starts to answer on. And we should remember that many of these scammers, this is their full-time job. So they will figure out new ways to sort of reach consumers in the cheapest and most efficient way. But I would say it's harmless to receive those calls, just like any regular, spam calls or scam calls. It's also harmless to answer these calls, I would say. The problem is if they start sending you links and you start engaging in these, or even fall for some made up story, like a scam story. We at Truecaller at least believe this is going to be a huge problem in the future when it comes to voice manipulation. Someone who will claim to be someone by manipulating the voice basically and using AI models for this.
In fact, Truecaller told CNBC-TV18 exclusively that it is rolling out a new feature that will help users identify a scam call on all messaging apps, including WhatsApp. This feature, the company said, will work on both Android and iPhone devices and all telecom networks. It's currently in public beta testing phase and will be rolled out by the end of this month.
So anyone can join our beta program on Google Play. It's absolutely free, and this functionality is free as well. Show caller ID for apps like WhatsApp and Telegram. So you will work on all other messaging apps as well. Now, the beautiful part with this is that we see all these calling patterns. So we know in real time, thanks to our AI identity model, we know when there's a good actor or a bad actor. And the plan is to roll this out to everyone in the coming weeks during this month. And for iPhone users, we last month launched something that we call Live Caller ID, powered by Siri.
All right. Moving on, EV ride-hailing platform Bluesmart Mobility has bagged $42 million in its latest funding round. The firm is looking to enter the billion-dollar club in the next 6 to 8 months. The funding comes amid Bluesmart's growing reputation of becoming a challenger to Ola and Uber. Aishwarya Anand is here with Bluesmart's story.
Very soon, when you call for a cab, it's going to be an electric vehicle. That's because players like Ola and Uber are now shifting their fleet to green taxis. So what is making this happen? One, the government's push for clean energy, where they want 30% of cars sold in 2030 to be electric. And second, competition from an all-electric fleet operator, Bluesmart. So how is this green mobility startup taking on the incumbents for a market share in the country? I'm going to find that out from Bluesmart's co-founder and CEO, Anmol Jaggi. Especially in the NCR, we've seen far more cars than we did, let's say, a couple of years ago, right? So can you tell me, how are you filling the gaps that already exists in the business model of the ride-hailing giants?
Customers wanted very simple things. They want a car which doesn't cancel on them. They want a clean car, polite driver partners, and no surge price. I think Bluesmart right from day one, about 3.5 years back to now, has only stood for these 4 principles. And that's what the customers love us about, and that's what our competition was not able to provide.
Bluesmart started with offering airport rides in Delhi, right? And then you brought in the scheduling aspect of it. You later expanded your operations to Bengaluru. So could you give me a sense of the kind of market share you hold in these 2 cities?
So Bangalore is a very recent start for us. We only have about 400 cars in the Bangalore market. As we speak, in Delhi, we have about 3,100 cars and should be 5,000 cars in the next 2 months. With 5,000 cars, our expectation is that on a pan-NCR level, we should be somewhere at about 12-13% market share.
Now that we've spoken about the NCR, I'm going to ask Anmol to take us for a quick spin in Bluesmart's taxi in the NCR region.
Sure, most welcome.
Yeah, let's go.
I'll go from there.
How's your pricing different from that of an Ola or a Uber?
So at Bluesmart, right from day 0, customers have not been subjected to vagaries of price change. If your home to office trip costs you 250 rupees on a Monday, it will cost you same on Tuesday, Wednesday, and every day of the week. irrespective of whether it is raining. From a base fare perspective, we are at the same level as Ola and Uber, but because we do not surge at a few times, you see us to be much cheaper than Ola and Uber.
And do you own your vehicles or do you lease?
So, all the cabs we have leased out from large institutions. When we started, we got 500 cars from EESL, Energy Efficiency Services Limited. IREDA sanctioned us a 267 crore leasing facility. In the end of March, we got a 633 crore leasing facility from Power Finance Corporation. Bluesmart has enough leasing partners to lease out about 10,000 more electric cars in this year.
You know, one of the biggest pain points that customers talk about is rides being cancelled very frequently. So I want to understand, how are you tackling this issue?
We are a zero cancellation platform. We have done millions of trips till date and we haven't cancelled a single trip. At Bluesmart, because the asset ownership is not with the driver partner and the platform are aligned in their thinking. I can tell you that a lot of driver partners, including the one who's driving for us right now, would have come from a competitor platform. So the whole idea is that in our case, drivers don't have to bring assets.
After a ride in Bluesmart's vehicle, we are now here at one of their charging stations in Gurgaon. And while our car is getting charged here, let's take the conversation forward. Anmol, I want to understand from you, how many charging stations do you have currently, and what are your expansion plans looking like?
For about every 100-150 cars, we need one such charging hubs. Bluesmart is going from 3,500 cars right now to about 10,000 cars by March of 24. Which would mean that we would need another 75 such hubs coming into the picture.
You've recently raised $42 million in equity and debt funding round. Tell me, where do you plan on deploying these funds?
So basically, our funds get deployed majorly in acquisition of vehicles. A substantial amount of money goes into building the charging infrastructure that you see over here. Okay. Our operational burns are extremely low, so we do not need any significant burn money for ourselves. Bulk of the money is going into CAPEX for cars and CAPEX for charging infrastructure.
What does your FY23 numbers look like, and what is the road to profitability?
About 600,000 users use us on a monthly basis. We do greater than 500,000 trips every month. In terms of revenue, we are right now at an annual revenue run rate of about above 300 crores. And before the end of the year, we will be at the revenue run rate of about 1,000 crores. Delhi, Gurgaon, which is the core market right now for us, the biggest market for us. By August, with God's grace, we should turn profitable here. Bangalore is showing some very promising results, and it shouldn't be very far off when Bangalore also turns profitable.
Ola and Uber are now moving to convert their fleet into electric completely, correct? Do you think India's infrastructure can support that number of, electric vehicle fleet?
Currently, in our opinion, India is absolutely woefully short of charging infrastructure.
Yeah.
So any plans to go electric need to be supplemented with large-scale charging infrastructure development.
Thank you, Anmol, for speaking to us today. It's been lovely interacting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Pleasure.
India's ride-hailing startups have raised close to $1.7 billion in 2022, which is a 117% jump from 2021 as per Traction. Bloom Ventures, Sequoia Capital, Tiger Global and GIC are some of the top investors in this space. India's ride-hailing market is currently pegged at $13.4 billion, a tenth of China's, and the penetration is just 7%, making India a lucrative opportunity for the EV companies. With camera person Saurabh Chauhan, Aishwarya Anand for CNBC-TV18.
Continuing with our focus on the EV sector, electric vehicle startup Zip Electric is on a rapid expansion plan. Founded in 2017, the company offers EV as a service and last-mile solutions for e-commerce and food delivery platforms. The company has 13,000 electric two-wheelers and wants to expand its fleet to 2 lakh across 30 cities. CNBC-TV18's Danish Anand caught up with the company's founder, Akash Gupta, to get a sense of the company's business plans.
With electric vehicle sales crossing the 1 million mark in 2022, EV startups like Zip Electric are now getting ready to speed up their expansion plans. The EV as a service platform is targeting 500 crores in revenue this fiscal and growing its scooter fleet from the current 13,000 to 1.5 lakhs in the next 12 months.
In the last 3 years, what we've seen that every year the business has grown the revenue by 5x. So we did in FY20, we did about 5 crores. FY21, we did about 25 crores. This last year, we did 125 crores, right? So 5x is the new flavor that Zip team is liking here. Koshish ye rahi that we do another 5x this year, right? So the plan is to hit 500 plus crores for this financial year, which we are into now, FY24. Right now, my clear focus, at least for the next 12 months, is to focus in India, do this in the top 6-7 cities of our country, deploy about 100,000, 150,000 EVs.
Zip Electric says it turned profitable last year, and the company's founder says that the EV startup may become a unicorn by 2024.
We had hit profitability last year while we were executing. We were seeing that Delhi was turning out to be profitable on all lenses, and Delhi was our deep, large market. It's our home market, Delhi NCR, Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, Ghaziabad, Faridabad. We had deployed about 7,000 EVs at that time, and it was showing the sights of profitability towards the EBITDA level also. Last year, in October, we launched Bangalore, and now Bangalore is about 2,500 odd EVs that we have deployed, and it's also showing the path to profitability. So we'll continue to invest. So profitability is something that we can achieve whenever we want to. It's something which is in our hands. When we say that we want to push the pedal of expansion, we will obviously invest. But when we say we want to stop the expansion pedal and we want to focus on profitability, we can tweak the business very quickly. Right. But our goal, to answer your question, is to make FY25 as the goal for proper focus on profitability.
Right.
Unicorn is just a buzzword in the town. Whenever we'll hit unicorn, I think possibly sometime next year is in my head. Possibly we might, but essentially that is an outcome. Right? The focus is to build the business in the right direction, expand in the right cities, and solve the problem that we are out here for.
While many Indian startups are facing a funding crunch, Zip Electric claims that funds are available for companies with the right business models. The big uncertainty for electric vehicle startups is the future of the central government subsidy scheme for EV, which ends in March 2024.
FAME will be phased out in the current format is what I hear from the industry, but there will be a new FAME 3 that will be coming out. And in fact, my proposition to the government is that why to give FAME to the person who's just buying the bike and not using it? Let's put FAME on usage. So every kilometer that you're driving, you're saving the climate, you are saving the pollution. Let's link it to the number of kilometers that you drive or the services that you do.
The company recently announced a strategic partnership with leading battery swapping company Gogoro to deploy its scooters and utilize its swapping stations in select cities. Danish Anand for CNBC-TV18.
Well, with that, it's time for us to head into a short break. Coming up, Purple Style bags $14 million in a Series C round. How does the firm plan to spend the funds, and where will the next leg of growth come from? We put the company's founder on the hot seat to find out. Stay tuned.
Purple Style Labs, which is the parent company of Pernia's pop-up shop, among others, has secured $14 million in Series C funding from its new and existing investors. It is looking to expand Pernia's pop-up studio experience centers both in India and overseas, and it wants to invest growth capital in younger labels and continue acquiring mature brands as well as part of its vision to make the company one of the largest luxury fashion houses in India. Joining me now in our studio is Abhishek Agarwal, who's the founder of Purple Style Labs, to talk about what's in the pipeline for the company and how he plans to realize some of these ambitious targets that you've set for yourself. Abhishek, welcome to the CNBC-TV18 studio. Let me begin by asking you particularly, IIT Bombay, Deutsche Bank, fashion house. How did that come about?
Well, honestly, I always have had an inclination towards fashion. Generally, engineers won't. I mean, you don't see that naturally coming to engineering. No. When I landed IIT Bombay, I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, slightly, it's not the same kind of world I have grown in.
Not at all.
But I mean, IIT Bombay obviously helped me get a good network out of college. Joined Deutsche Bank. Banking again is a bit of flair. Especially markets. So I used to work out of Hong Kong. I mean, people there would like to dress up. So I, again, got back to my passion. So when I was looking to change banks, I was like, let me start something on my own. And fashion just came naturally.
Wow, that's quite the jump from Deutsche Bank to Purple Style Labs. But Abhishek, you recently raised about $14 million. And this is the first time we're speaking to you. You've been quite elusive. Tell us what you plan to do with it. What are your plans with some of your companies in your portfolio?
So, we have not raised a lot of capital. We never needed much. We have a pretty strong return on capital generally as a business. The idea going forward from here is to expand stores, but what has changed as strategy is that our first store in Juhu was only 2,000 square feet, and our last store in Delhi was about 20,000.
Oh.
And this year, the newer one in Hyderabad is about 30,000. Wow. So what we have realized with time, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense for us to do smaller stores. Our focus is picking cities by cities and just keep doing large stores, one in each city where it makes sense. So I think in India, we're pretty much there in top 10 cities now. Barring Chennai and Surat, we might just do later part of this year.
And internationally as well?
And internationally, we opened London 3 years ago, and we'll be looking to do New York, Dubai in the next year.
You've been around for a while. You've acquired this company in 2018.
Yeah.
You have some other brands in your portfolio as well. What is the sort of revenue rate you're clocking, and is the company profitable yet?
So, I mean, obviously, we have grown significantly fast for the size of capital we have raised. And primary reason for that was we did not build the platform from scratch. Our idea as a house is to be a roll-up strategy company where we believe in people who have built the brand equity and then basically come in at a stage where you can scale the sales fast.
Correct, yeah.
So, first year of acquisition, we did about 23 crores of revenue. Second year, about 47. And it was the COVID year, so we stayed flat.
Yeah.
But then we ended up doing 180 on the next year. Last year we closed at about 375 crores.
Okay.
Currently we are at about 600 crore revenue run rate. So we should be closing that 20.
Profitability?
So till last year we have become break even now. I mean, prior to that we were making a bit of losses, but not much, like to the tune of 10-20 crores flat every year. Now I think this year we should be attaining about 30 crore PAT on a 600 crore financials revenue.
So Abhishek, this $14 million is sort of giving you the runway to expand.
Yeah,
but eventually the plan is to go public?
Yeah, so I mean, that's how we have now been changing gears to move towards profitability over hypergrowth. We are happy growing at 50-70% year on year for the next 3 years. Focus on building the profitability and probably look to hit the market somewhere in 3 to 4 years from now.
But, you know, this house of brands model is not very new to India, but you're also competing with some of the players with the deepest pockets in the country. You know, we're seeing corporatization of luxury retail. You have Reliance with its impressive portfolio on one hand. You have Aditya Birla Fashion Retail with its own portfolio. What's your moat? Where do you come in?
So, I mean, it started with the institutionalization of Pernia's pop-up shop in some way, because that was the first deal effectively that was done in one of the first deals done in this space. Even a year later, we invested a small capital in House of Masaba, which was also one of the first investments in designer brands at this stage.
And now life has come full circle with Masaba being one of your investors.
Yeah, she did make a small investment in the current 14 million round that you're talking about. So for us, I think we don't treat necessarily Aditya Birla and Reliance as competitors, because what they're doing is helping us institutionalize the industry faster. So in the longer scheme of things, when this becomes a fairly large market in 20 years, it obviously has a lot of pie for everybody to get a share of.
I also wanted to understand broadly, the idea for you is to acquire established brands and then scale them.
Yeah.
One, if you could give us an example, for instance, how large was Pernia's pop-up when you acquired in 2018 and how have you been able to scale it? And two, what is the next sort of target companies in your portfolio? Are you looking at more mature brands, you know, or what is the potential you see with the younger ones?
So, I mean, from Pernia's growth, when we bought, it was about $1 million, like 7-8 crores kind of gross sales run rate. Today, we are at about $75 million. So that's a 75x growth from where we acquired.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a good story so far.
In just 5 years, yes.
Just 5 years. Similarly, we have more plans for the brands that we have acquired. So we acquired Wendell Rodrigues in 2020. We have also grown it about 7 times from the peak sales that the brand ever did in the whole year. So I think that also in a matter of 2 years we have grown very fast.
So then what is in the pipeline? What are you looking at acquiring? What's next?
So we typically look at deals from a longer vision perspective. We are in no rush. There's no pressure on the company to constantly deliver acquisition growth. We are looking at few brands similar to Reliance and Birla. The only difference is...
Global brands?
No, so the focus is very clear from the house perspective. We are looking at Indian brands, but global distribution.
Any names we might know of?
So, unfortunately, I might not be able to disclose the names, but the idea is because we can't go and handpick an acquisition on day one, we might as well be interested in investing in brands like we had done with Masaba 3 years ago. So, that is what might happen faster than an acquisition on hand, because we believe you get more time to learn about the brand by making an investment. Because before you decide to go in an acquisition, whether it's 51% or 100%.
All right, Abhishek, thank you very much for your time here on CNBC-TV18. And since you plan to go public, hopefully we'll speak to you a lot more.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.